Hi, I'm Yiwen, and I'm now working as a PhD student in the University of Gothenburg, and I work in the Sahlgrenska Hospital. My research topic is about estrogen receptor signaling and osteoporosis. I used to be a doctor, and as doctors, I have a lot of questions in the clinical practice. Why are the patients behaving like this? Why does the disease develop in this way? But as a researcher, I'm trying to answer those questions, and that is the coolest thing I I love about my job. From the researches we are doing now to actually use them or apply them in the practical clinical practice, it would take a very long time, sometimes years or decades, to actually use the knowledge, the results we have from the researches. That is the biggest limitation, and it sometimes makes you frustrated, like, what's the meaning of the things I'm doing? But we always have faith in what we are doing. We know that someday it's gonna help for the um, world and society. The biggest challenge for the work I'm doing now is that for most of the time we have so many questions that we don't have an answer to. We don't know why this, like, today we have a little bit strange result from the experiments, and we really want to explain it, but in most of the case we don't know, and that's the things we are trying to figure out or trying to solve, and it's both the challenge and limitations. I spent 8 years in a medical school back in China. I got my medical doctor's degree last year, and at the same time, I do research in the lab. So I have lab experience as well. My job before now, I used to work as a gynecologist in the hospital, but my research topic back at that time was POI, which stands for premature ovarian insufficiency with estrogen. And what I'm doing now is bone osteoporosis with estrogen. They are pretty much in the same endocrinology area. Working and starting abroad here in Sweden, I think the biggest thing or benefits that I have learned from here is the work-life balance in Sweden. It's really good about the sustainable living and working concept. I'm working more efficiently with a good work-life balance, and also about the independent thinking, because I used to be quite dependent on my supervisor or my colleagues or some other co-workers, but here it's encouraging us to speak out our ideas, to have some discussion, even though you could be wrong or the questions could be stupid, but as long as you're thinking, it's encouraged. That's really good. As a kid, I actually dreamed of being a doctor someday when I was 7, 8 years old. But at that time, being a doctor for me is just like helping the patients, doing cool surgeries, being a surgeon, but not working as a researcher. But now I would love to be a doctor and researcher at the same time. It's really good that you meet actual patients, and from the clinical practice you have so many questions, you have so many topics or things that need to be answered or solved, and as a researcher you try to answer the questions you have from the clinical work. It's a they're come helping each other in some point.